Well, joining us now to unpack this issue is Oba Maduabuchi, a senior advocate of Nigeria. Apologies for stuttering on that, on your name. Good to see you, and thanks for your time. You know, many Nigerians are quite interested in what we're dealing with at the moment. Perhaps let's have an overview, if we can break it down for better understanding. Vice President Atiku, former Vice President, has gotten what he requested from the Chicago State University. What does this mean in the dynamics of what's at play at the Supreme Court?
Well, thanks for this opportunity. Thanks for having me. Good evening. You see, this situation is not as simple as it sounds to the man on the street. This is because the issue, the Supreme Court rules are not applicable here. Because this appeal is not from the Court of Appeal. Right? It is from the Presidential Election Petition Court. So don't mistake it for the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal sees 3. The Presidential Election Petition Court seeks 5. The Presidential Election Petition Court is a court of limited jurisdiction. In fact, it has only one jurisdiction, to determine whether a president is validly elected or not. That is the simple jurisdiction. It cannot determine whether I own land in... it cannot do that. The Presidential Election Petition Court cannot determine whether I was negligent in driving my car. It is only limited to one thing. And in providing that limited jurisdiction, specific rules were made to guide it because of the special and specific nature of that jurisdiction. Right? So you don't apply the Supreme Court rules generally to Presidential Election Petition Court appeals. You apply the Electoral Act, which has told you how you go about it. Right? So the major problem Atiku will have is how he's going to scale the provisions of the Electoral Act, particularly the rules of procedure of the Electoral Act, not the ordinary rules of...
Like you said, it's very complicated. And how we can, simplify it in a way that the ordinary man will understand and conclude, okay, is Atiku trying to waste our time? Or is there, a cause here?
Now, let me put it this way. An election petition is to be presented within 21 days.
Right.
After 21 days, you cannot introduce certain things, particularly if they affect a ground for challenging that election. And one of the grounds for challenging an election is that the person was not qualified. So if you want to introduce anything after 21 days, which tends to show that that person is qualified, the law says no. You can't. Once 21 days closes, that's all. That's about section 137 of the Electoral Act. So now, and this is an election that happened in February. And today is
October 3.
So how can we be talking of bringing in new evidence?
So the issue of 21 days, does it start from the day of the election?
From the date of the day you declare the result.
Okay, the day the result is declared. Okay, so that renders all of this totally.
It looks to me as
is dead on arrival.
Yes,
is that what you're saying?
That's the way I look at it.
So going forward, what exactly are the lessons, really, if at all, that we should be, gleaning from this?
Let me start this way.
Yes, please.
If you are filing an election petition and you envisage that this man presented a forged certificate. And it is one of the planks, and it's formidable because it is something that you cannot defend. If you just call somebody from Chicago State University and he says, we didn't issue this, this is what we should have, that is the end. So we as lawyers, we have to be more careful when we are doing cases and leave emotions aside. Presidential election petitions are very serious business.
And that's where I was headed.
Very,
wanted to
very
ask,
serious.
because listening to you said that it's quite complicated, but again, listening to you, you made it look so easy to understand that you've been able to break it down in layman's language. But how difficult is it for some of your colleagues to also objectively and sincerely counsel their client?
Well, there's something we call sympathy of numbers. I am a senior advocate. Most of the people who handle these matters are senior advocates. I will not come here on Arise, which is heard all over the world, to begin to make certain comments on my fellow colleagues. The brain is limited. You can't lend your son your brain. You can't use brain that you don't have. And you can't do something the way you do not know or you do not believe in. There's a way like you ask me a question, I go straight, I answer you. There are people who, if you ask, they will dance around, play around, and at the end of it all, they end up saying nothing. So that thing, they should have started it from pre-election.
On the issue of eligibility?
Yes, start it from pre-election.
Right.
Attack him there. And he would not have contested that election. There's only one way of proving forgery. The man who you purport to have issued the document must come to say, I did not issue it. It is not subject to any conjecture.
Okay, not subject to any.
Before we go further,
yes, please.
You cannot now at the Supreme Court say you are going to bring Chicago State University to come and testify on something you either didn't plead in your petition or which you pleaded in your petition but abandoned.
Right, yes. But there was an attempt on the part of Tinubu, because we have to wrap really, to ask the court not to release those records, that it will cause him harm.
He's entitled to that. Why should you expose? Right. Why should you see? I'm not Tinubu's lawyer. I'm not his lawyer, so I don't know why he decided to do that. If I were his lawyer, why should I bother myself? Bring the thing. You can't enter the Supreme Court. It is not possible. It cannot cross the Electoral Act.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Oba Maduabuchi is a senior advocate of Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsman.